Hello everyone, welcome to the video, and today we're going to be finding out if you can beat Elden Ring as a Necromancer. So quickly, before this video starts, if you guys are not already subbed, please drop a sub, it would help me out a lot, and I would really appreciate it. So now I want to talk a little bit about the rules of the actual playthrough. They are very simple. Essentially, any enemy I kill, I get to use, with the exception of bosses that only spawn once. So a boss like the Tree Sentinel, for example, is fair game because there's multiple spawns of him, and he is kind of like a mini-boss. So with all that out of the way, we're now going to get right into the playthrough. So we obviously arrived in Limgrave, and the first thing I wanted to do was get the actual summons, which was the Wandering Noble Ashes that is going to make this playthrough possible. From there, I talked to Ronnie so that I was actually able to use the ashes, and immediately I went over to this guy over here and decided I needed to kill him to add him to my collection. As soon as I got him, I actually went over to this little settlement and grabbed one of these knight guys as well. As soon as I got the knight, I had walked over here and decided to kill these two guys just because they were a little bit more separated, and honestly these wandering nobles were absolutely terrible. It took me like multiple summons to even kill these two guys, but nevertheless we eventually got them down and added them to my squad. So as you guys can see here, this is what we're looking like so far. Not too shabby. We got the knight and then the four soldiers, so pretty solid squad so far. So we decided to take on Margaret, and overall this boss fight was not too bad. Pretty much most of the fighting in the early game was a little bit more difficult just because it was hard to get, you know, useful people on my team. As you guys can see here, most of these dudes are getting one-shotted. I spawn them in and they just get absolutely dumpstered, so it was very unfortunate. I ended up needing to upgrade a lot, but for this fight we actually ended up taking him down relatively easily. I think this was my first try fighting him just because the knight guy does a lot of damage, and as you can see here, he staggered Margaret, absolutely destroys him like it's nothing. Margaret does do one swing there and takes out all of the soldiers, which is unfortunate, but overall the knight did so much damage that this boss fight was not too bad. The only problem I was really running into at this point was the fact that my guy's base health was a little bit too squishy, and they were getting one shot a lot of the time before they can even get close. But regardless, we ended up taking down Margaret. We absolutely pooped on him. My boys are really nothing to play with. As you can see here, they're even attacking his dead body. They are absolutely different. And after taking down Margaret, I decided I need a little bit of upgrades, so I went and bought the rejection spell as well as some new armor, as you guys can see here. And I went on to the castle, and my dudes were just knocking people off the side. It was pretty funny. So these were guys I was going to eventually recruit to my squad. As you can see here, we killed them, and I was about to add them to my squad when my knight just kind of walked off the cliff. Not the smartest guy, but regardless, we ended up adding these guys to my squad. And as you can see here, they were absolutely useless. For some reason, they were just completely broken. And I also had the wrong version of them. I had the ones with the crossbows. Godric destroyed me right there, so needless to say, it didn't work out. So from there, I decided to go and recruit some more members, so I wanted to get this giant crab. It was a little bit of a pain because, like I said, these guys just lay down as soon as they're summoned in, and they do like no damage since they actually hit people with the crossbow. They don't shoot it. But regardless, we ended up getting the giant crab on my side, and he was a big help for getting this Bloodhound Knight. So the Bloodhound Knight is another boss where I feel like there's multiple of them in the game, and it's more of a mini boss. So we ended up grabbing him, and he was a big help to the squad. And we tried to take on Godric again, and this time did not go as well again because I had too many of the Exile Knights, and they were just useless. So from there, I decided to recruit Big Soup. As you can see, we splattered him all over the wall and picked him up. And after that, I dodged a nice little attack right there. My boy didn't, but we grabbed the Caden Cell Swords on our team. So after updating the roster, we decided to fight Godric again, which didn't work because the jar was absolutely useless, and the Caden Cell Swords just stood there with their arms crossed. So overall, I just knew this wasn't going to work. They were broken again, and I needed to recruit new teammates. So from there, I made my way over to Caelid, and we ended up killing this giant dog, as well as a few of the Red Mane Knights, or I'm not entirely sure what knights they were, but regardless, the one I got was incredibly tanky, and these dogs were definitely a big help for killing Godric, so I knew that, just you can tell by the damage, it was going to be a lot better this time. I actually also summoned in the wrong Bloodhound Knight, who was doing a little bit more damage than normal, so I am sorry about that, but you know, I had gotten off for the day, and when I got back on, none of my stuff saved, so I needed to redo it and accidentally got the wrong guy in. But regardless, the damage that the dogs were putting out, as well as this red mane knight, I mean, this guy was absolutely insane. He did so much damage, and he just did not want to die. And with the help of these two goats right here, we ended up taking down Godric pretty easily with this squad. It was not easy before. I mean, I probably fought Godric like 20 plus times just trying to take him out. But we took down Godric. Not too bad. And then from there we moved on. This guy really wanted me to take his grapes, so I grabbed onto them really hard. And from there we moved on forward to Leonia of the Lakes. From there we went up to the Raya Academy, and I decided I wanted a little bit more range in my team, so I killed some of these guys. And from there we took on the Red Wolf of Radagon. And this is where I realized that having range was very, very important. My Raya scholars were a little bit broken because sometimes they would cast a spell, but they wouldn't even shoot anything. But they were able to do a lot of damage. As you can see here, it did like 294 damage. It's a lot. That's why they were a really, really big help in this fight. So as you guys can see here, I had developed a very large team of absolute studs. And from there, the fight was pretty easy. We killed Radagon on my first try. Not too bad overall. From there we made our way to the courtyard where there was these Iron Maiden things, and I knew I needed to get it. As soon as I saw it and remembered it was there, I absolutely knew I needed to have it. So I grabbed him and made my way to the Rennala fight. This fight was an absolute disaster, and it took me like 30 minutes the first time I went through because I just could not get my guys to attack what I needed them to attack. The little kids that throw books at your head, yeah, they were just ignoring them. So I actually found a way to work around it. At first I wanted to cheat a little bit by just punching them, but I found that the rejection spell gets it off of them regardless. And as soon as I would break the shield and bring Rennala down, I would just summon my guys directly on top of her. As you guys can see here, it does a lot of damage. As you guys can see here, we got her very low HP, and she just wasn't going to die. So I pulled out my spear. I wanted to kill her so bad, but I refrained because I didn't want to cheat. And from there we moved into the second phase, and they absolutely just dumpstered her the entire time. It was overall not bad at all. The second phase was really not bad. My favorite part of the second phase, as you can see here, she gets absolutely annihilated by her own Bloodhound Knight, just because I had changed the fact that they were on my team, and she summoned him in, and the dude just destroyed her. It was amazing. As soon as she summoned in the dude thinking he was going to help, he just uppercut her to the chin, and she went down like a bag of bricks. So it was pretty great. Overall, I was very, very happy, and I felt that that was an appropriate way to end that fight since it took so long. From there, we moved on to the Altis Plateau, and I decided to try to take down the Knights Cavalry just because I wanted a little bit more firepower on the squad. So I was going to take out probably one of my Iron Maidens for him just because I didn't want to. And overall, he wasn't too hard to kill. As you can see, my Iron Maidens, they just kind of ran him over a lot. And he tried to hop back on his horse, which was just a mistake because he got swatted down real quick. And just like that, we had recruited another member to the squad. From there, we went on to take on the Draconic Tree Sentinel. And at this point, my team is full of a bunch of studs. So these fights were getting a lot easier as we went on. As you can see here, I did get the Knights Cavalry guy, but he just came without a horse, which was a little bit unfortunate. But as you guys can see here by this fight, I mean, that Raya Scholar does insane damage, and that's why we got him on the squad. From there, we moved on to the Radon fight, and this one was another cakewalk. I was kind of expecting this one to be a little bit more difficult, but he kind of just stood in the same spot. And like I said before, my team, they're absolutely insane, so they just kind of rolled him pretty quickly. The damage is absolutely insane from the Iron Maidens and just the Scholar in general. So we actually almost killed him before he was even able to get into phase 2 of the fight. So he jumped away real quick right at the end, and we ended up finishing him off pretty easily. This was actually another boss fight that I was able to take down on my first try, and overall I was pretty happy because I thought it would be a lot harder. From there we moved on to the Godfrey fight, and this one was an absolute joke. As soon as I summoned in my dudes, they just jumped on this guy and just rolled him. I mean, this guy got ganked so quick. He got hit by the Raya Scholar for like 4,500 and just got steamrolled. It was pretty awesome. And from there we moved on to Margaret. And this was another fight I was expecting to be a little bit more difficult, but at this point I had gotten the heal as well, so I was trying to heal my dudes up. And overall, this boss fight was another very, very quick one, but I feel as though this was the turning point in the game where I knew that I needed to change up the team a little bit. So after defeating Margaret and with that one idea to improve my team in mind, I made my way to the mountaintops of the giants. And then I summoned in my team to gank this Rivers of Blood spammer, which was very, very satisfying. After that, we decided to take on the fire giant, which did not work out very well. And we actually decided to take him on again, but this time I had the tree sentinels summoned, and I got absolutely destroyed because they were broken. So I was unable to fight the tree sentinels, so I knew I needed a new member of the team, and that's when I grabbed the watchdog. And he ended up being the MVP of the game. So at this point I had swapped out a few of my team, and I had gotten the Red Wolf of Radagon as well as the watchdog. And like I said, the watchdog was the absolute heart and soul of the entire team. He pretty much carried the playthrough without a doubt. It was mostly the watchdog. Having him there was just a boost in morale for the entire team. So the first time I fought this fight, I had the original team that I was working with through the other parts of the game, but they were simply not fast enough. So I knew I had to switch up the team, and I got the Red Wolf of Radagon because he was very, very quick. And also for some reason, the Wolf of Radagon was like pretty much the only summon that I got that was super aggro. He ends up finishing off the fire giant pretty effortlessly. And after that, I take a good look at the MVP of the fight, like I said, right there, Watchdog, just lurking over there. That's something he did a lot through the playthrough. As you can see here, I take a look at his face, and he is absolutely stunning. This is why I knew I needed to have him on the team, just because he's truly just so handsome. From there, I lit Melania on fire, and I made my way over to Volcano Manor to get one of these man serpent things that kind of look like male anatomy. And after disposing of the man serpent, we now had a brand new roster. We had the Red Wolf of Radagon, one Raya Lucaria Scholar, one Watchdog, Melina, since I had technically lit her on fire and killed her, and the man serpent. This was an absolute stud team, and I just knew that this was going to be the team that I beat the game with, since they were just all hitters. So from there, we moved on to the God-Devouring Serpent, because I wanted to try to kill him, and told my squad, let's get to it. And as soon as I said that, they rushed into action. Even Melina kind of did a Naruto run, and she just stormed in there, even though she doesn't even have a weapon in her hands. The Watchdog, once again, he did what he does best, and that was watch. And after getting knocked back multiple times, Melina just kept going in. So overall, I really applaud her spirit and ambition, because she had more heart than anyone out there. From there, the Serpent did a 1-2 combo, swiped Melania, and knocked over my Watchdog, which I was pretty unhappy about. And from there, I knew I needed to protect him a little bit better. At some point in this fight as well, someone had applied poison to Rykard, which I just wasn't entirely sure who it was or how they did it, but he had poison on him. And from here, I just kind of spectated. I wanted to make sure that everyone was doing their role. As you guys could see, my man, the Watchdog, doing what he does best. And it was getting a little crazy at this point. A lot of fire, a lot of explosions everywhere. So I didn't really feel like I was too safe. But regardless, I knew it was my job to make sure that I documented everything that happened. From there, we took a devastating blow to the team. As you can see, the Raya Lucaria Scholar got absolutely manhandled. And I wanted to walk over to his body to see what he looked like. And as you can tell, he was shocked. And another thing I noticed was that this man's feet were just out. This man's dogs were just chilling. I mean, these things can't even be street legal. I mean, they look absolutely repulsive. I couldn't even stop looking at them. I had nightmares about him for the next week. And but regardless of that, we ended up taking down Rykard not too hard. The worst part of that fight was finding out that the Raya Lucaria Scholar had very, very nasty ass feet. From there, we moved on to Commander Nyle. And this fight was not too bad. He had his summons, I had my summons. And something monumental actually happened in this fight. As you guys can see, the Watchdog actually hit somebody. He hit this knight twice with his weapon, and that's something I have not seen since I had summoned this guy in. I mean, I was pretty sure he was just absolutely useless and just here because he was so handsome. But this man was swinging this fight, and this is so out of character for him. But regardless, I wasn't complaining. I mean, this dude has done quite literally nothing the entire time. So to see him actually swing made me very, very happy. Made me realize that he was definitely a valuable member of the team and not just here for his good looks. But overall, my Red Wolf of Radagon ended up taking down Commander Nyle pretty effortlessly, and this fight was not too bad. I ended up doing it on my first try. From there, I went to Commander O'Neill. Because I wanted to get the Commander's standard. The Red Wolf of Radagon just kind of pushed him. and I'm not entirely sure what that was all about, but regardless, we ended up taking him down. And also, I was pretty much over leveled at this point, so this boss was pretty much a cakewalk, probably one of the easier bosses I've had to deal with. From there, we moved on to the Godskin duo, and I used the commander standard to buff all my people, and I was actually pleasantly surprised with the amount of damage increase that they were given with the commander standard. I felt as though it was pretty much night and day. So I knew that using the commander standard as soon as I summoned them was going to be the main strategy I was going to implement moving forward. This was kind of a strange fight in general. The Raya Lucaria Scholar doing tons of damage. I mean, this man was just hitting. The only problem, like I said before, was just the fact that sometimes he would just cast something but nothing would happen. I mean, he was like shooting blanks. And then I noticed the Wolf of Radagon doing that thing he does sometimes, where he'll just push the enemy across the entire arena, which was pretty entertaining. And after he did that, he delivered the final blow. Or at least so I thought. As you guys can see, this dude got summoned right at the end, and he was just like lurking afterwards. It made me very uncomfortable, and I wasn't entirely sure what was going on, but we disposed of him pretty quickly because he needed to go. I don't know why he even popped up in the first place, but we put him down and made our way to the Malekith fight. This was a very easy fight. Right off the rip, I had hit them with the Commander Standard, and we took down the Beast Clergyman phase of the fight very quickly. As you guys can see, the damage is absolutely insane with the new buffs, and we moved into the second phase of the fight. This one I was a little bit nervous about just because Malekith has a ton of movement, and I wasn't entirely sure if we'd be able to catch up to him, but he just kept jumping on the Wolf of Radagon, and he just kept getting his ass kicked. Then we made it to the infamous Melania fight, and this fight was definitely not going to work because, as you guys can see, she gets a lot of health back. And I knew I needed to change up the strategy, so for this fight particularly, I had actually cheated and just summoned in whoever I wanted to just for fun. I summoned in a giant ballista, and it didn't even shoot her once. And then I had summoned in this gigantic chariot thing, and it just rolled over my entire team, which I was definitely not expecting. And the craziest thing had actually happened while I was looking for a replacement for the chariot, because I had just thought he kind of stormed off and rode off in the corner, but he had actually rolled over Melania like 15 times and literally killed her while I wasn't even looking. So I was pleasantly surprised with that. As you guys can see, he ends up taking her out right here, and I was definitely not complaining. This fight took like 45 minutes, and I'm not even kidding. But I knew I needed to swap out the chariot just because it might have been too OP. He didn't even take damage. So we summoned in Tibia Mariner, and man, this guy was just absolutely useless. He just kind of rode around in his little boat, and I don't even think he attacked. So I knew I needed to get rid of him, and that's when I summoned in the one and only Pope Turtle. Now, obviously, I had not killed Pope Turtle because that is a cardinal sin, but he has quite the health bar. I mean, he just took 3,000 damage, and his health bar didn't move, but he was overall pretty useless. He got smacked, went into his shell. I felt really, really bad for putting him in the line of danger, and that's when I had taken another look at this guy's feet, and it was absolutely flabbergasted, and I knew I needed to get this fight over with pretty quickly, so I had summoned in the Gargoyle. Melania was pretty low health at this point. I just needed somebody to be able to do a decent amount of damage to her, and we ended up taking her down. And man, this boss fight, like I said, this took forever, so I don't even mind cheating. I'm sorry, but it's pretty funny that I was able to summon in the chariot regardless. From there, we made our way to Sir Gideon, the All-Knowing, and this guy was talking a lot. This guy is overall a total chump, and I think he's just a poser. I really do not like this guy. I mean, he's getting absolutely annihilated. Half of his health bar is already gone, like 5 seconds into the fight. And this man had the audacity to use Melania's own move against her. I thought that took some balls. Overall, I just don't like this guy. You know, I feel like he's too cocky. He doesn't like us at all. Yeah, I don't know. This guy's just a poser. And for someone that knows everything, the all-knowing, he sure didn't know how to survive this fight because he got absolutely dumpstered, and we rolled over him very, very quickly. So after that fight, we made our way to Godfrey, or Horaloo, and this fight I was actually not looking forward to because I thought it would be a lot more difficult than it actually was. But I mean, something I'm just not used to is having, you know, the A-team around me and at my disposal. So as you can see here, Melania's doing the waterfowl dance. She absolutely annihilates his health bar, and we get into the second phase of the fight very, very quickly. At this point, I have 3 absolute shooters on my team and just 2 people that like to watch. And we ended up finishing him off pretty easily, and taking a look at this guy's dogs one more time. And as you guys can see, very, very rare, but the watchdog had actually tried to hit him while he was dead, which was absolutely incredible. After that, we had moved on to the Radagon fight. All these fights pretty much start the same way anymore, where I summon in my guys and we hit the commander standard for the nice boost to damage. For some reason, my Serpent went down there, and something I had realized at this point was that he had never extended. It's one of his moves to just extend and flop all over the place, which was, you know, part of the reason why I even got him in the first place. And he quite literally just never did that, which was very disappointing. But regardless, we took down Radagon. And as you guys can see here, we're all up, very healthy, looking great. And at this point, it's pretty much inevitable that we win the game and roll over the Elden Beast. Something that I also noticed during this fight was that Melania didn't even attack Radagon once. And I'm pretty sure she didn't even attack the Elden Beast once. But we have two absolute chads on the team. That's a Raya Lucaria Scholar and the Red Wolf of Radagon. I mean, there's something you guys need to understand, and that's the fact that the Raya Lucaria Scholar is literally raw dogging it right now. Like, he is literally walking around barefoot just through these arenas, just trampling bosses. Like, this man is just built different. And these two actually finished off the boss relatively easily. They actually did it very, very quickly. I believe the Elden Beast only jumped away like one time, and they were able to stun him and finish him off. So, pretty impressive how fast they were actually able to kill him. And just like that, we had taken down the final boss in Elden Ring. From there, I just told my squad. They helped me out so much. They had beaten the game for me, and I let them go, and they walked away. And just like that, we had done it. We had completed Elden Ring as a Necromancer, with just summons and never attacking. So thank you guys so very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, as well as if you want to see any videos like this in the future, you can comment down below what you want to see. But that's pretty much it for today, so thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.